Hey, so I'm going to show you one of my favorite ways to use PlayPosit. This is using Google Slides, QuickTime, and YouTube in order to create a flipped version of a lesson or some type of direct instruction that will allow students to kind of work through it at their own pace and be able to do it individually so that you can work with students in other ways. So the first thing you're going to need to do is create some sort of Google Slide document to help guide you through whatever that lesson or instruction is going to be. So I'm going to just use an example from a 6th grade lesson we have about vocabulary. So create the lesson, think through what it is you want to have students do, and at what points you might put those PlayPosit interactions so that when you're doing a recording of your lesson, you know when to stop and pause and ask those questions. So I have this created. The next thing I'm going to need to do is open up QuickTime. And if you don't use it very often, you can find it in your Launchpad. It's hidden usually in this Other folder. So from your Launchpad, click on Other, open up QuickTime. Oh, and I happen to have another thing open. But typically when you open QuickTime, nothing is going to show up on your desktop. All you're going to notice is that your bar at the top has changed. So from here, I can click on File and New Screen Recording. It's going to open up this box for me. I can see here that it's picking up my voice because the bar is changing, but by default, your microphone is usually turned off. So you're going to click on this little caret down here and make sure that internal microphone is selected. Otherwise, you're going to end up going through a whole screen recording and not pick up your voice, which is a real pain. So I make sure that that's checked. I click off of that. Now I'm going to hit the record button. So when I do that, I'm going to get this message. It says click to record the full screen or drag to record parts of the screen. You can end the recording by clicking the stop button in the menu bar. So right now you can see up here this little gray button. That's going to turn black as soon as my recording has started live. So I want to be able to see my full screen for this purpose, but what you could do is click and drag just the part of your screen you want students to be able to see in the video. And then you would click Start Recording. That's not what I'm going to do for this purpose. So I can see here my thing is black, it's recording. I'm going to click Stop. That's my little quick screen recording. I'm going to close out of that. I'm going to delete it. And then I'm going to start a new one. So if you want to be able to see all of your screen, if you're switching through different tabs, or you just want them to have access to every aspect of that, when you click record, instead of clicking and dragging a square, I can just click anywhere on the screen, and now you'll see this has turned black and my recording has started. So it's creating a recording. I can now open up my slide deck and talk through my whole lesson. So I'm going to introduce the standard, I'm going to introduce the objective and the purpose. We're going to walk through some guided practice, give an example, talk through the actual assignment I'm going to have them do. And this is probably where, if I'm really doing this as a PlayPosit, I'm going to stop and add some interactions or say something to the students like, now here's your chance to try. Leave a little pause so it's easier for me to find in the video when I want to add those interactions. Continue to walk through the lesson, wrap up with whatever further instructions I may have for them. And then when I finish my recording of what I want the students to do, I'm going to go ahead and click Stop Recording. And there's my video, which is fabulous. So at this point, I can go to File and Save it to my desktop. The one drawback to QuickTime is that it saves its files as a .mov file. And our PlayPosit accounts only allow us to upload MP4 files. So that's where YouTube comes in. So instead of saving this to my desktop and kind of taking up space, I'm going to click on this little square, the share button right here, and I'm going to send it to YouTube. It's going to take a minute. I've got to give it some information. Click on Next, click on Share, and it's now sending that video straight to YouTube. This process does typically take a short chunk of time, obviously depending on the length of your video. This one wasn't super long, so it should go quick. It says about 2 minutes. I'm sure it's going to go a little faster than that. And then what I can do is go into YouTube and just as we showed you at the beginning of our PlayPosit instruction today, when you're in YouTube, there's sort of those 3 places you can navigate to. YouTube, where you watch videos, your channel, where you can see the videos that you've curated, or the YouTube Studio, which is where you can see and view your uploaded videos. So if I click here on videos, I should see this video that's in the process of being uploaded, and it's there. So we don't necessarily have to wait for this to be fully processed to show you how I could then add this to PlayPosit. I would click on the 3 dots, grab Get Shareable Link. It's automatically copied. Now from within PlayPosit, I can go in and create a new video. Add new bulb. Enter the designer. And instead of uploading the MP4, because again, that's not the file format that QuickTime saves in, I can go to input URL and just paste it right in there, and it will grab the video for me. If you are using an iPad to do a screen recording, the default format for that is an MP4. And if you're using WeVideo as a screencasting option, if you are a 3 to 5 teacher and you have a WeVideo account, I actually don't know what the default setting is for that. But if you have the option to save it or download or export as an MP4, if you pick that option, you can skip the whole YouTube step, which might be nice. So that's kind of the basics. Now I have it loaded into PlayPosit. I can go and add, trim the video down if I want to cut off the beginning part of me sort of getting situated with the screen recording, or the end of me turning it off. Those are usually the parts that I trim out. Other than that, I just let it go as is. I don't really want to spend a whole lot of time making sure it's perfect, because most of the time when we're in front of students, we flub or say something and we correct ourselves, and it's not a big deal. We're human. And I'm certainly not going to spend hours and hours creating a screencast that is meant to sort of just get that topic across. Good enough is good enough for these purposes. Like I said, I do love this use of PlayPosit because it does allow you to sort of multiply yourself as the teacher. It allows students to really work through things at their own pace, and allows you to get a good grasp on what all of your students are learning from those lessons, instead of just maybe the 5 to 10 that typically raise their hand and respond in class. So one of the ways to really make sure you're reaching all of your students. All right, we're going to go ahead and end it there. Let us know if you have any questions about that.